Hello and what's up, watchers? The sun is hiding and the magpie is casting. Coming at you right now with a live 1 versus 1 battle featuring, spawning in the north, it's going to be the British forces of Kook. And spawning in the south, it's going to be the Wehrmacht forces of Shoepsi OP. Shoepsi. Wow, that sounds like some kind of crazy soft drink produced by Schweppes to combat Pepsi or something. I don't know. Shoepsi. Yeah, cool. I can just about get my head around that. I'll just call him Shoepsi. We'll see how it goes. The map today is going to be Angerville. Cast this map a few times, even recently now. Yep, I'm sure you all know what the deal is by now. We got 2 victory points on the right. We got 1 victory point on the left. We got an open sort of farmland style stuff on the left. And we got a slightly more built-up, building-oriented right-hand side of the map with a wall. Seems like Shoepsi has chosen his commander straight away, and that's why we see Ostruppen flooding the field. So these guys, they weigh in at 200. For that, you get a 6-man squad who are basically pretty terrible, but become reasonable once they're vetted up, and especially if they're in cover. I have to say, I'm convinced about Ostruppen now. They are actually very useful units. So anyway, we'll see how they square off against Tommies. Speaking of which, the build order from Kook, he's gone Tommies into Vickers Universal Carrier, Bren Universal Carrier. So that's the unit choice for him. Going to invest 15, I believe it's 15 fuel, into that early game unit, which gives you a lot of field control. Yep, there's 210 manpower and 15 fuel. It's only 4 unit cap as well, that's pretty cool. Yep, and here it comes. It's already gotten a kill. There we go. Going to mow down one of these Struppens. Meanwhile, on the left flank, we've got the Pioneers. They've gone all the way out to the left. They're going to grab the munitions, probably the fuel, and then the victory point on that side. Savvy players these days tending to skip the victory points at this stage in the game until later. MG42 and some Struppens going to get into this building. That's in a good position, actually. Going to start hosing down these Tommies. Bren Carrier probably going to try and get involved, and there it goes right now. The MG42 is going to reposition to that side of the building to try and push it back, get a good bit of veterancy. Of course, you do get a reasonable amount of experience from firing at vehicles. Let me try and demonstrate that. So, it seems like the Bren has actually moved out of arc, so we're not going to get to see that. There we go. You just saw the bar guard a little bit, hardly any. Anyway, so yeah, Struppen's in cover here. They're going to start firing at these Tommies, making life really annoying. Of course, because the Ostruppens only cost 200, any hits that they land on the very expensive 280 manpower Tommies are going to give them a premium in terms of veterancy. The Bren Carrier here just moving across over to the left flank, where it's going to back up these Tommies, and that leaves an awkward situation where if I crack the tack, you can see we've got a lot of German forces past the British forces, and this Tommy squad just cutting off the any land which they might grab. So an interesting dispersal of troops there. These Ostruppens, yeah, there we go. They're going to fall back. They are very fragile, aren't they? Damn, these Tommies just mowing them down. The old Lee Ernfields really proving their reputation for accuracy and rate of fire. And here we have the Universal Carrier with some Tommies. They're going to probably make short work of these Pioneers. And the MG42s are really the only thing with any real offensive punch in the entire German line right now. Ostruppens are okay, but they're definitely more of a supporting unit. And unless you've got 2-3 squads and a decent concave, they're not really going to challenge Tommies. Anyway, speaking of challenging Tommies, this is an awkward place for an MG42. I mean, it's going to start hooning them down, and I suppose it's at close-ish range, but it's going to need some support, I suspect, because the increased rate of fire of the Tommies in the building, combined with the defensive buff again for being in that building, kind of too good. So anyway, here comes some support. And actually, I take that back. The MG42 at this point-blank range is actually chewing through the HP on this Tommy squad. Now, it's going to come down to a bit of a chicken contest. Who's going to flinch first, the MG42 or the Tommies? They're both really low now. Seems like the MG42 is going to try and get out, and I imagine it will do. And the Tommies, likewise, they're going to get out. That is failing a lucky shot from one of these Ostruppens. Nah, it's not going to happen. So, yep, trading right down to the very last bar, like pixel of HP on those units, but they're both going to get out. No great drama there. British forces mustering control of the left-hand side of the map. That's pretty much uncontested right now. And, I just heard the enemy got one of our squads. So, that falling back squad of Tommies who are very wounded, here he is. He's been mowed down by this MG42 in this building. So, that is quite the blow. 280 manpower squad lost there for Kook. And you never want to lose a squad early in the game as the Brits. And he probably just forgot that this MG42 was back here, because I'm sure if he'd have known, I mean, a Tommy on that low of health falling back along this route is pretty much always going to die to an MG42 in this position. So he probably just was focusing so much on this fight, he maybe forgot that there was an MG42 in the building back here. Sad times for him. But anyway, the Universal Carrier being repaired. We've got the platoon command post that's come down, and following that, we've got a 6-pounder entering the field now. 6-pounder seems, and also some Royal Engineers, of course. 6-pounder seems like a little bit of a strange choice. I mean, maybe he suspects a scout power or something, but I don't know. This seems like a very early a very early 6-pounder. Here comes some flamethrowers on a squad of pioneers, turning them from a vaguely ineffective combat unit to quite a dangerous close range unit. The Royal Engineers, the boys from Wales, with backup of the Universal Carrier, they're probably going to push back these Ostruppens, and we've just kind of got mixed fighting right now on the left-hand side of the map. Nothing much going on the right, which is why we've got Struppens making a land grab over there. MG42 still just doesn't want to leave this building, and I can totally understand why. It's in a very commanding position right on the doorstep of the UK Forces base. Seems like we've got no Tier 1 tech. That's a luxury that you can go for. You don't have to build your infantry Festung if you have the Ostruppen commander, because of course you don't necessarily need to build grenadiers. If you can call in Ostruppen squads, you can get by with just the MG42s, which are built in your HQ, and you can skip to escalate to battle phase 1 a little earlier, get your light mechanized company, which is now constructed, and now we have a 222, the choice to counter the Vickers, which has, the Bren carrier, which has now purchased the Vickers K LMG upgrade. So here comes the Leichte Panzer Spähwagen, as the crew just said. So that's gonna come on out. I mean, he's got the blood-splattered camo on this one, so clearly been running down some poor conscripts or something at some point in its career. Has this 222 squad of Tommies coming around? Sorry, no, the Royal Engineers coming around to the back. I'm sure that they actually want to be capturing this point. That is an awkward thing. They're just kind of standing there right now. The 222 is totally going to get the jump on this Bren carrier, and wow, taken out by the 6-pounder. So Kook there, clearly demonstrating that he's well up on the meta. Incendiary ammo used from the MG42 there to complete the kill on the Universal Carrier. But Kook there demonstrating his understanding of the meta by blindly getting a 6-pounder when he had no idea that his opponent had a light mechanized company or a 222. Because I guess you can safely say, if I've gone for a Bren carrier and my opponent has gone for the Ostruppen commander, he's going to have that light mechanized company. It makes sense for him to go for a 222. I'm going to preempt that with a 6-pounder. So yeah, British players, myself included, take note. If you find yourself in these circumstances, get that 6-pounder a little earlier than you might ordinarily. In this case, prioritising it in front of the SAS Sniper, which most British players, myself included, will build the SAS Sniper first. Speaking of which, here he comes. Yeah, these guys are yelling about a flamethrower, and that is kind of right, because here he comes. Pioneer's going to make a run against these Royal Engineers. Not a lot else going on there, though. The Royal Engineers will probably just move back, leaving the Pioneers to grab some ground. This MG42 still in a great position. Struppen's here going to back it up. They're probably going to start chewing up these points and getting them under control for Shoepsi. Shoepsi kind of sounds like, I don't know, sounds like some kind of like popular music reference, like that, I don't know, like Swifty. You know what that is? That's Rick and Morty, get Swifty, that's why. Ding! Mental connection made. Anyway, totally irrelevant, a little bit of a digression there, let's get back to the game. Panzer Grenadiers now on the field, and this is a really common move for people who go for the Ostruppen commander. You get to back up your relatively kind of lame Ostruppen infantry with the relatively elite Panzer Grenadiers, and I like this a lot. Panzer Grenadiers, of course, also giving you the option to convert into a strong anti-tank unit with the 120 munitions Panzer Shrek upgrade. So we might see that come down when the munitions are available. A little preemptive right now, there's no armour on the field and no danger of any armour being on the field. For a little while yet, for the British forces, 115 fuel, of course, the milestone for the company command post, and that's about a minute away right now for Kook, assuming fuel income, of course, stays constant. SAS Sniper making his presence felt. He's up to 1 kill, sniping down the quite expensive per model Panzer Grenadiers, so he'll be very happy to hoover them up. And the 222 coming back out, going to do a number on these Tommies. Tommies, of course, sadly never get an anti-vehicle option, not even a humble anti-tank grenade. So this 222 can dance all day with these Tommies, pretty much, as long as he doesn't fall asleep with the rear armour facing them. He'll be happy to chunk away at them. And Tommies, of course, being worth so much, the 222 will vet very quickly from shooting them. So that's a good situation. 6-pounder's going to transition across to try and deal with that. And well, the SAS Sniper doing work on this machine gun now. And wow, though, the incendiary ammo punishing the Sniper. He's going to fall back. And you've got to feel like if the German player just had a unit like here with providing line of sight, that would have been the end of that Sniper. But good enough as it is to see him off. 222 Scout Car looking for another squad wipe on this 1-star with medkits unit of Tommies. And let's just see if he gets that. The MG42 is going to help him. And oh dear, yeah, I was going to say, you have to feel like that's going to happen. That's going to get him 1-star veterancy and the ability to detect infantry on the 222 Scout Car. So pretty potent stuff there. A good chase from Shoepsi, demonstrating some good control there. That MG42 in that forward building, again proving its worth. And the Brits' lack of indirect fire, you've got to feel like if you could just get a pyrotechnics package, you know, either through 1-star veterancy on the sniper or by buying it for this new Tommy squad who are arriving now, he'd be able to maybe displace that MG42 by calling down some indirect. The indirect fire options for the British notoriously limited, and with that in mind, it seems like Kook has chosen his commander. He's gone for the Royal Artillery Regiment. So just hit pause if you want to have a look at the abilities that gives you. Number 4, of course, the concentration barrage, the most important right now. So look out for that. He'll have access to that almost well, very soon, basically. Panzer Grenadiers here, fighting in heavy cover. They're doing well. Here we go. The SAS sniper. I was going to say, I'm sure he'll come out. These Tommies probably want to run on over and use their medkits on him. Boom! Wow, he like literally gibbed that guy. It turns out if you get hit by .55 calibers, you're going to feel it. And the 222 just kind of wheeling round. This guy, the SAS sniper, is a pretty good counter for it, of course, because he lets you, you can use the aimed shot to break the engine, and then you can use a 6-pounder or whatever you like, even the sniper, just to kill the 222. It's quite a fragile unit. So, the SAS sniper could look for that shot. Is he going to fully transition onto the right flank? No, he's going to fall back. Here we go. Yeah, now the medkits are being used, so that's going to heal him. Yeah, he was on like worryingly, perilously low health there. Panzer Grenadiers going to make their presence known, and without the SAS sniper on the front to punish them, they're going to get some work done. And making a cap down here. Looks like Ostruppen and the MG42 still commanding the right flank, and of course, with the asymmetrical distribution of the victory points, that means that the Brits have found themselves under the clock. Although amazingly, actually, if we look at the scorelines, they're actually still leading by 7 tickets, which surprises me. I haven't really been keeping a close eye on who's been commanding the victory points, but the scoreline tells us that the Brits have been commanding them a lot more than I suspected, and a lot more than is typical for Brits against Wehrmacht this time, in the early and early mid game. So that's interesting. 222 going to chase down these Royal Engineers. That's going to cause the fallback. Sniper here, not fully healed by the use of the medkits. If he would just follow these Tommies, he would be healed. So I would like to see him do that. With the SAS sniper, every pixel of health can make the difference, and he's such a valuable single soldier that you really want to see that health on him if you can. Chipping in damage from the back, hitting these flamer guys. They are now burning the Tommies here, though. Ooh, the Tommies need to get back, I suspect. Oh, they're going to try and stay. Nope, there they go. They do fall back. Let's take a look at the teching here for the Axis play. He's got a lot of squads here that need to move out, actually. I don't know how long they've been stood here. There we go. He is not escalating to Battle Phase 2, although he does have the fuel for it. So I'd like to see him do that. I think support armor core is probably the right move. It's either that or you need to start building pack guns, because the British player can look to have a Centaur reasonably soon. Although I say that, he's miles off in terms of fuel, actually. He's never really had control over a fuel point for very long at all, if ever, this game. So doing a really good job there as Shoepsi for controlling the fuel points. And the effect on that is noticeable. I mean, typically British players, if you look at the clock here, will have a Centaur rolling onto the field sometime at or just after the 11-minute mark, if that's what they want to go for. And right now the Centaur is so powerful, you've got to think, they usually go for that. You've got to plan on it, basically, if you're playing against the Brits. So, yeah, if that was the case, then it would be utterly devastating. There's not even a single pack gun, and you normally need at least 2 to deal with that with Wehrmacht. But he's actually getting away with that. Anvil, the choice of tech, that's where the fuel has gone. Very interesting. These Royal Engineers need to get out. These Panzer Grenadiers are going to make short work of them if they actually just turn to face them. Looks like they were more interested in going after the sniper, but now they'll get them. Wow, they need to fall back. These are so expensive and fragile. Oh, dearie me, they get mowed down. Another squad of Royal Engineers with Tommies doing some work on those Panzer Grenadiers, though. Look for them to force them back, and they do. So, at least maintaining control over that area, but it was a shame to lose the Anvil upgraded engineers there. And this is a really odd style that he's gone for. Getting the wow, the MG42 has been forced out of this building. Didn't see why or how, but that is an odd thing.
A new engineer section is waiting for
oh, it's because of a mortar pit. Right. Do pay attention, Magpie. So yeah, a mortar pit has been constructed in the British base, and I kind of like the positioning here. It's very far back, but it's got a good arc around over a lot of Axis units, and it's already making its presence felt by displacing that MG42, which has been a thorn in the side of the British player this entire game. So anyway, yeah, the 222 maintaining activity. It's nearly 2-star vet now, actually. Does that give it a survivability increase? No. Does it ever get one? No. Fair enough. Yep, so the 6-pounder is going to run on over, but it's going to be a little late. It's going to at least push that one away. SAS sniper here just being healed by some Tommies, so he'll want to stay there for a while. And let's take a look at the teching for the Axis player. Yep, he is escalating to Battle Phase 2 just now. So we'll see if he's going to skip past that or just or go for battle, or if he'll actually build his support armor core. wow, I've just never seen anyone go for Anvil Tech. So that's 50 fuel. I've never seen anyone go for Anvil Tech at this timing. He must be doing it to go for the airburst shells, I'm guessing, because that will affect the concentration barrage. But he hasn't used that yet, and he doesn't have any pyrotechnics packages on any of his units. I suppose he does on the sniper. The sniper does have the pyrotechnics package, and locked on 1-star veterancy. So he does have the ability to make use of the airburst shells, but all of the other bonuses are given to you by the Anvil Tech. I mean, he's not repairing anything faster. Capture territory points give increased vision. I suppose that's useful. And he's not building any Churchills, so I'm not sure that that's 50 fuel well spent, if I'm honest. And 200 manpower, which is, it's not nothing. I mean, he's not floating much manpower. And British are an army. Okay, here we go. Here's some airburst shells coming in. Boom. Very nice stuff. So, yeah, finally using those, albeit not to a superb effect, but definitely using them. And these Panzer Grenadiers playing with fire a little bit, staying at this range against these Vickers K equipped engineers. Yeah, they're going to be forced back. Here comes the Flamer, though. It's going to try and mop them up. Another squad of Pioneers here on the left. They're going to be pressuring this 6-pounder and running in. The sniper ought to be around here somewhere. Oh, wow. No, he has died. Sorry, missed that. Oh, looks like he died right here. So, cut down in his prime. Flamer's still doing work against these engineers. They're going to need to fall back. They can't just keep sustaining this flaming to the face. Mortar Pit has no kills, but 2/3 of a level of veterancy. Strangely, that has no kills. You would have thought it would have gotten a man off that only 42 squad earlier. And anyway, a wall of 6-pounders now on the left, which is useful. I don't know why players don't seem to very often prioritise the right-hand side of the map, and they may. Kook may end up regretting not committing more to the right-hand side of the map as the game goes on, because obviously by not controlling the right-hand side of the map, he's under the clock. Although having said that, he does have a squad of Tommies, unopposed, chewing up land over there. He's going to get a fuel point. That's totally relevant. Let's have a look at the teching for the Wehrmacht player. He doesn't have a support armor company. He hasn't gone up to escalate to battle phase 3. I'd love to see him do one or the other. He's got some Pioneers just stood here in the base, so they could build the support armor company if he wanted it right now. And that's a choice I'd quite like. I think a Panzer IV or even a brace of Stugs. You know what? He has enough fuel for a brace of Stugs. That's a pretty sweet choice. I would like that, actually. No, I think he just used the convert munitions ability, did he? Oh, no, he did build the support armor core. There it is. Cool, so yeah, it looks like we might have that option coming up. So he'll have his choice for Ostruppen, Panzer IV or Stug, possibly Stug plural. So we'll see what happens there. Panzer Grenadier is going to shove these Tommies out of the right flank and start capping that fuel point bank, which I really like because his control over the fuel points so far has been great from Shoepsi. But Kook, he's controlled the right one for a little while now, and it looks like he's going to get the left one for a bit as well. You can hear the base howitzers in the British base. They're just flumping out some rounds right now. Let's see them. Come on, boom, boom. Let's see it. There we go. Good stuff. Flailing rounds out. The airburst shells landing in this location. That's going to force this MD-42 out. He's going to get out just in the nick of time. And that was not from a pyrotechnics barrage. That was 100 munitions used here from the concentration barrage. So not the most optimal way of using those guns. But fair enough. I mean, is there any benefit of using this one? Each howitzer fires 3 shells, so that's 6 shells he gets. I mean, I think that's pretty much the same as you get for using a pyrotechnics package. And a pyrotechnics package, I think it costs like 45 munitions to lob the smoke grenade. So I'd quite like to see him get one of those. Because if he's... I mean, I can only assume he went for the early anvil in order to have access to the airburst shells. And I think the best way of deploying them is by repeated use of the pyrotechnics packages with the occasional use of the coordination of the concentration barrage. We might see a bundle grenade, and we do, but it's not going to kill any of these engineers. Good micro there from Kook to get the Royal Engineers out of the building and then back in. Vickers K kind of kicking up havoc from that building. I think these Panzer Grenadiers fell back a little prematurely there. Still 3 men with good health on that squad. And another bundle grenade coming out. Wow, that's like 90 munitions I've seen be used in like the last minute just for those. Anyway, here comes the armor spending, the fuel spending, and it's going to be a Panzer IV medium tank. He's got enough munitions for the MG42 upgrade, and I'd love to see him get that, but we'll see if he actually does. And Panzer Grenadiers moving up on the left flank. I'm surprised that these Panzer Grenadier squads haven't vetted up more, to be honest. I haven't seen a Panzer Grenadier squad go down, so I don't think I've missed that. So anyway, Mortar squad up to 2 kills, 1 star of veterancy on them. They're still doing good work. Not not sure. This Panzer IV doesn't really want to commit on the left flank. The reason for that is, of course, there are two 6-pounders out here, and they will eat that tank for breakfast. So it's going to transition over to the right. It's going to find a mixed bag of targets over here, some Royal Engineers and some Royal Engineers, so not that mixed of a bag of targets. Nice work there, Magpie. But it looks like he's going to go straight for mortar position. Oh, and I like this quite a lot. The 6-pounder has it covered. He needs to back up just behind this hedge. Oh, and he does, but an attack round can still get the job done here. Oh, 2 solid hits into the Panzer IV. That puts it down to half health as Panzer Grenadiers are forced back on the left flank. Trying to cover the action as best as I can here. There's a lot of fights going on all across the map. Looks like those Royal Engineers are going to get forced back by a massive fan of Axis infantry. We've got 2 MG42s, we've got 2 squads of Ostruppen, we've got Pioneers, we've got these Panzer Grenadiers making a run there, and of course the Panzer IV spearheading this particular assault. Looks like he might try to get the MG42 back into this building. Did Brace come down on this unit? Brace did come down, but it's now just come off, so firing again is that. But he could have taken advantage of the Brace just to get the MG42 back into this building. That would have been a smart choice. Repairing the Panzer IV, always a move that I approve of. And so he's going to be repairing that in a decent position. I mean, this would be risky if it didn't have like a fan of infantry around it, so there's no danger of that Panzer IV being ambushed just now. Both 6-pounders still in a fairly tame defensive position here on the left flank. Even going to move this one back. Not sure about that. Flamer Pioneers doing work, but it seems like if I crack the tack, you can see the entire right flank of the map now back in Axis hands, and that's important because there's a fuel point and there's 2 victory points, so it's much more important to hold this area than it is to hold this area. So, yeah, prioritising his work well there is Shoepsi, and it seems like we've got some Panzer Grenadiers in a fairly advanced position. They're going to be displaced immediately. I tell you what, an unlucky mortar could just kill these guys now. They're going to get straight out, and I appreciate that move from Shoepsi. You've got to be careful when using these fragile 4-man squads with Wehrmacht, you know. All it takes is one mortar in the wrong spot, and when you're down to 3 men fighting off against a concave of Royal Engineers with Vickers K, you're inviting that disaster to happen. So anyway, Panzer IV now fully repaired. It does have the MG42 pintle-mounted upgrade, which I really like to see. Again, in my opinion, it's less about the damage you do, although that's very useful. It's more about just vetting the Panzer up very quickly. And for German armour, you always want to get it to level 2 veterancy, because that is when, like, pretty much unanimously across the German armour lineup, they get increased durability, and that turns them into a really good unit. 1-star veterancy, of course, is great, because that gives you the combat blitz ability, which is really cool. Actually, I believe it's just called Blitzkrieg. It is just called Blitzkrieg. So anyway, Ostruppen's in this building, just kind of making life really annoying. These Royal Engineers are taking the fight from here. I'd much rather they took it from here. And here we have a Churchill coming onto the field for the British forces. And this building now very dangerously wounded. There we go, he does get the Ostruppens out of there, and that is going to save them probably. I'd be amazed if the Churchill was able to bring them down. Second Panzer IV coming out, so that means 2 Panzer IVs can now take on this Churchill. And if they get a good sort of spit roast formation, you know, one from each side going on, then they can actually take on that Churchill pretty nicely. The rear armour on a Churchill definitely abusable by Panzer IVs. The sides and front iffy. Panzer IVs, you know, they're good tanks, but not that good. Looks like we've got a captured 6-pounder though. He should just set that down. He should just set that down. There we go, he does. And that'll really help. Bam! Getting a crack. Look at the HP on a Churchill, though. That thing is just... Oh, God, what do you do about that? This Panzer IV is probably going to be forfeit. 6-pounder. The tracking on the Churchill turret not quite fast enough. He needs to get this one out of here, though. Its rear armour is horribly exposed. Why is it staying? If he'd have just kept that moving, that was a horrible mistake there with the armour micro. He's going to lose the 6-pounder again. And that means he's down to 1 Panzer IV, which means basically killing this Churchill is going to be a dream for Shoepsi. It ain't going to happen, because the Churchill, I mean, it's just got so much health. And look, it will totally beat a Panzer IV. Absolutely. So he's going to have to be forced back. He's only got 65 fuel, so he's going to have to start buying pack guns. Now, luckily, he's floating enough manpower to do that. He needs to do it now, though. Yeah, he has pushed all the way up on the right flank, though. That is in Axis hands very firmly right now. So he does at least have that going for him. British player is under the clock, has been for some time. He's at 289 under the 398 for the Axis player. So, you know, as near as makes no difference, 110 tickets there. Well, it is indeed 110 tickets, the difference. So, so Shoepsi's ahead, but not by enough to reliably have that as a way out of the game. So, I just think losing that Panzer IV in a way that was basically needless there, a little careless. In a fight, when you've got a lot of things going on, you have to take care of your most important units first. And obviously, the most important units on the field there for Shoepsi were the 2 Panzer IVs. And leaving that Panzer IV, firstly taking a trip through the arc of a 6-pounder where it shouldn't have been, and then leaving it with its rear armour facing a 6-pounder which admittedly wasn't facing it, and a Churchill which could punish it very easily, led to the demise of that Panzer IV. And it's in circumstances like that you've just got to get the Panzer IV out. You've just got to get it out. Yeah, so Shoepsi there, punished for that. And we'll see if he's able to make a game out of this moving forwards. I mean, the Churchill is a strong unit, and it's been repaired quite a lot. Of course, the Anvil Engineers able to repair stuff very quickly, and a pack gun in good position, getting some good damage on the Churchill. But the thing about a Churchill is they've got so much health, you really need to like set up a kill on them. You need to come at them with everything you've got all at once in such a way that the Churchill's massive health pool can be drained. And if you can't set that up, wow, 2 6-pounders just going to say goodbye to this Panzer. The 6-pounder pushing up, but a little too aggressively, I would say. I mean, yeah, he's getting good hits, but all it would take is one infantry squad. But you know what, actually, there is no infantry squad forthcoming. Anyway, yeah, he's going to get it back now. So, anyway, good veterancy on that pack, I would imagine. I got 2 hits, not as much as I'd imagine for 2 hits onto a Churchill. But anyway, and yeah, that Churchill, damn though, look at his health. It's just, it's taken such abuse, but it's still like way over half health. Anyway, a Stug, the next armor unit of choice, and I like this. When you've got a Panzer IV to hide the Stug behind, the Stug can be really good. And against a Churchill, again, its range, its armor penetration, and rate of fire are all going to be totally valid and useful. Right hand of the map now starting to fall into British hands, though. The Royal Engineers with the Vickers K pushing up and able to displace a lot of forces here. MG42 is going to put an end to that advance, though. What you have to feel. Also going to grab the fuel point, and this is totally relevant. Both players hungry for fuel right now, and the Axis player does not have any other fuel points under his command. So he's going to slip down to plus 19 fuel income, the British player up to plus 33. So it's on Shoepsi right now. He needs to make a move. He's really feeling the heat. His Panzer IV is facing the wrong way. It's just small things like that, you know? Like, that's it. Now he's turning it. That's what we like. And, like, the Stug is a great choice. It costs 90 fuel, and its DPS against armor exceeds that of the Panzer IV by loads. You know, like I say, rate of fire, penetration, and range favouring the Stug. However, if it doesn't have things to hide behind, and in this case we're talking about the Panzer IV and to some extent the infantry, then the Stug is actually not that great of a unit. So, the Stug is great, but if that Panzer IV falls, then we could have issues. Anyway, here comes the Stug. It is set to target vehicles. There we go. Gets his first hit, and he needs to back it up. It's already too close. This is just a bad place for it to be. Get back! What is he doing? Oh my god, you need to always be kiting. Think of this thing as a tank destroyer, because when you're fighting a tank, that's what it is. Panzer IV comes in, but it's just going to dive straight into the 6-pounders. Oh dear, he's going to lose the Stug. And that, again, is a needless loss. Wow, I'm amazed that the Stug is still alive. He just needs to keep backing up. Just keep backing. Can he not back up through this hedge? Oh no. That'll be a dead Stug. That'll be a 2-star Churchill. You've got to play the Stug a lot more defensively than that, you know? You've got to think of it like a Jagdpanzer. Oh dear, the Panzer IV goes down to the 6-pounders. I didn't think that was going to go well. You don't want to commit the Panzer IV to this area of the map. There have been 2 6-pounders here the entire time, and the Churchill can always come back and mop it up. And with that, I think Shoepsi's chances in this game looking pretty glum. Now, I'm not going to rule him out just yet. But, you know, he can make a comeback with manpower-based units. You know, there's nothing to say that a few packs couldn't turn this round. It's not like he's playing against the Vanguard Commander, where a Crocodile Churchill would just be GG. You know, he can build more packs, which he needs to do. He needs to do this right now. Why is he not building more packs? Come on, Shoepsi, get some packs on the build. Yeah, look at the repair rate. I mean, like, considering that the Churchill has got so much health, the repair rate of these Anvil Engineers is just nuts. Really good. Wow, though, they're getting mowed down by that MG42. That's great damage against units that are repairing. Oh, that's nice. Anyway, and a Pack Gun getting set up in a good position. The MG42 on incendiary rounds is going to start chewing up those infantry. Pack Gun, you have to feel like, is going to be forfeit. The Churchill really should focus that. How much munitions does Shoepsi have? He has enough to start giving Panzerschrecks onto his Panzer Grenadiers, and I would love that idea. Grenade comes out the Churchill. That's going to take care of the Pack Gun, as it almost always does. I don't think I've ever seen that not squad wipe a Pack Gun. And it seems like the fullback is going to be on for the Axis forces. So great moves from Kook here, pushing forwards on the left flank. On the right flank, an MG42 team, pluckily, going to grab a fuel point here for Shoepsi and secure him some much-needed fuel income. Yeah, it looks like he's scraped together enough fuel to get a Stug. So if he micros this one a bit better than the last one, tag teams it up with a couple of Pack Guns. Wow, he is banging out resources though. Pack Guns ain't going to be arriving for ages. Pardon me. So he needs to buy the Panzerschrecks on this 2-star squad of Panzer Grenadiers. It just needs to happen, I think, because otherwise he just doesn't have enough AT to face down this Churchill, which is of course going to be repaired. And credit to Kook, he has been absolutely like on point about repairing his armor, such as it's been about repairing his Churchill. He hasn't really had a lot of other armor. So that's really cool. Now, the British player must have a fair amount of fuel. Oh, haha, no he doesn't, because there's another Churchill coming. Wow, and you've got to feel like once this other Churchill arrives, things are just snowballing out of control a bit here for Shoepsi. Falling into what I have to say is the all-too-common theme when you play Wehrmacht against Brits. You have an okay start, but then the Brits just kind of roll you over when you get to the mid and late game. You know, they got a lot of powerful units and a lot of powerful synergies that they can use against the more fragile Wehrmacht units. So, yeah, we'll see if he's able to pull something out of the bag as things go on. This MG42 in a good position is going to slow down the infantry on this flank, so he's already doing something right there. They're going to have to get back at some point, but yeah, just for now, doing good damage. I'm liking that, liking what I see. Ostruppen's here getting up in the face of the Royal Engineers, and they're kind of actually out DPSing them as well, which is pretty cool. Here comes a nice fan out of Officer infantry, and look how many munitions he's got. He can almost get like 2 Panzerschrecks on these guys, like 2 sets, that is. That would be 4 Panzerschrecks for 240 munitions, and I'd love to see him do that. Like, what does he really have here to make a move stick against a Churchill? Answer, not a lot. And of course, at 1-star veterans, you can see the little hatches popping open. The crew are just like firing out of there. Anyway, here comes a Stug. Here comes a Pack Gun. Here comes a second Churchill. Wait, where is that thing? Looks like it was thinking about deploying to the right. And anyway, here comes the Pack Gun. It's in a good position. It's inviting a grenade, actually. It's a little too far forwards. A grenade out of this Churchill. Yeah, here we go. He's just going to roll in and grenade it. And the Stug's way too far forwards again. Just back this up, like right now. How are you just leaving this here? There we go. Now he's backing it up, but still a little late. And here comes the other Churchill. So you've got to keep backing it up, man. This is not safe. Oh, dear. And that Stug is forfeit. Damn. See, that Stug didn't want to be there. It wanted to be here. And then it wanted to keep backing up. Oh, no. It's abandoned, and you've got to feel like that's something the Brits are just totally going to get. And anyway, a call-in coming down here, railway artillery in this position. Seems like no interest in taking the Stug, just going to kill it with the Churchill there. This Churchill, engine broken, being a bit edgy pushing forwards, but he did manage to get the Pack Gun. And if we look at the top left and the top right, you've got to see that that fight really took the wind out of Shoepsi's sails. The capabilities of his army have decreased dramatically, and I'll be amazed if he's able to make any more moves as this game goes on. And as I say that, Shoepsi going to GG there. So, in stark contrast to the game I casted earlier, where KN Barbarossa was able to deliver like a sort of Shoryuken uppercut with the lightning warfare doctrine to the Brits before they were able to get themselves properly into the game, Shoepsi here, unable to prevent Kook from like maximizing the British's advantages in the mid and late game, despite the fact that, if you ask me, Kook pushed back his armor a little like I would say without much benefit by going for anvil tactics a little too early. I mean, sure, he had anvil engineers with Vickers, which are like okay in a fight, and sure, he had airburst shells, but I didn't see either of those do anything which would justify 200 manpower and 50 fuel at that point in the game. I would much rather he just went for a Cromwell and then the anvil upgrade, or I don't know, a Centaur and then the anvil upgrade. But hey, maybe he just really likes Churchills and just really wanted to get them out, in which case, you know, fair enough. Everybody got their own plane style, but I don't know. I think possibly suboptimal there. Yeah, for Shoepsi, I think things went well, but just the armor micro, the armor tactics and strategy and management was just not good enough. The Panzer IVs could have been good enough against that Churchill, but he committed them at an awkward angle into the 6-pounders, which was just kind of awful. Lost one of them. Then he had a Panzer IV and a Stug. The Stug was like not kiting nearly enough. The Panzer IV again moved into the 6-pounders and died. And then the final Stug, again, just not kiting nearly enough, was way too far forwards, got spit roasted by a couple of Churchills. I mean, that's a low odds fight to begin with, 1 Stug against 2 Churchills, even with the Pack Gun backing it up. But if you don't maximise your odds with smart unit positioning and micro, then it's never going to go your way. So yeah, just an unfortunate series of engagements there for Shoepsi, but yeah, we'll look to see him in the future. And I believe that is going to be the end of this broadcast. So thank you very much for watching, everybody out there. Hopefully I'll have some more games up tomorrow. This is Magpie842 signing out.